All right, guys, it's Sunday with another crypto market price range. Let's see how the market is doing. And remember, I am not a financial advisor. Always do your own research before investing and never invest more than you can afford to lose. So let's see how these are going to be the coins that we're going to be talking about today. Looks like for right now, it's not too bad. I guess they're about 3% up, 5% around there. So most of them are going up a little bit. Nothing exciting, but well, let's see how they're doing. All right. So we'll start with first one will be Bitcoin. Um, Before we start in there, saying that I guess whales caused the biggest daily accumulation spike with 60,000 Bitcoins bought. So it looks like since Bitcoin broke about 35,000, as well caused the biggest daily accumulation spike since of 2021 with 60,000 worth of Bitcoin being purchased. And that's not $60,000. That is actually 60,000 Bitcoins. That's a huge accumulation for in one day. So they're definitely piling up those coins. So here's the market for Bitcoin. Let's see how they're doing. I did have somebody was mentioning that they were seeing a head and shoulder. I'm gonna make it tighter so you guys can see this. So here's the shoulder, and here's the head. And usually when you get what's called a head and shoulder formation, that usually the market wants to continue to go down because head and shoulder. But I actually don't see that for a lot of reasons. Mainly is because this spike up here above the 40,000 was not natural. It was more of a tweet. Somebody was pumping it up, saying that they got into it, and all of a sudden it got really exciting, and everybody started buying, and then all of a sudden you got this $1 trillion sell-off, and everything came right back down. So if you cut off this 40,000 and above, and just keep it normal where it would have been here, would have hit the 40,000 resistance, and it would have came down, it would have naturally either stayed in this area, which it is now, or it would have came back down a little bit, touched the 150 EMA, or even touched the 250 EMA, and then worked its way back up, and then worked it back into this range, and then continued to do what it wanted to do. But since it got overly stretched, it took a big dump back to the 250 line. So now it's like it's just trying to find a footing so it can continue doing what it naturally wants to do. So as we're looking at it right now, there is a lot of pressure to the downside. I'm about to get across another cross here. It's my 50 crossing my 250, but it already crossed over here and it didn't even move. It's about to cross again. We'll see if it pushes down because it's still kind of working its way up to the 37,000. So even though we have pressure to the downside and you have everything pushing it down, there's still a lot of buying sentiment right here in this area. So and we just saw that they just purchased even more in this area. So they see something that we're not seeing, which to me is called the squeeze. And what happens with the squeeze is the market always goes through that. If the market is being pushed and it doesn't want to move in a certain direction, let's say it's being pushed down and is not falling, eventually it's going to pop like a soda can and it's just going to take off because it's being squeezed. So I still see the pattern that I mentioned last week. I still see the cup and handle formation where, let's see if I can find the free line again, is where the market, I'm going to draw over here on the side, where the market drops down, goes sideways, it'll come back up again, close to where it was before. It will start to fall down, thinking that people think it's over, and then it'll start taking off again. That is the cup and handle formation, and that's actually what I'm seeing that this is doing. So I don't think this wants to go down. It actually wants to go up, and it's going to bring all the other coins with it. So that's what I'm seeing for Bitcoin. All right, next one is we got Cardano next. 30 billion ADA now staking as Alonso smart contracts. Excitement builds. So that's 30 billion with a B is being staked for Cardano. When you look at how much they have, here's 30 billion, and they have 31.95. That's 71% of it is being staked. That's in circulation. 31 billion is out there, and 30 billion is being staked. That's quite a bit of currency being staked. That's awesome. And so one of the biggest people or companies that bought a lot of Cardano is Grayscale. And Grayscale adds Cardano to its digital large cap fund. If you guys don't know what Grayscale is, they're like an investment, um, digital currency investing service company. And they added that Cardano to their portfolio with Ethereum and Bitcoin and some other ones. So let's see how Cardano is doing. They got great support. If you look at it, they've been sitting between 177 and $1. Um, but you got this 2 EMA still working its way up, meaning they still have a lot of support and pressure to the upside. So if it's able to break above the 145, then it'll probably do another run to the $1.70 again to see where it wants to see if it can break through it or it's going to bounce back down. But it was going down, which you guys can see here. It was falling. It broke out of it. So now it's got a really good opportunity with a bunch of support. If it can get above the 145 there, it will take a little run to the 160 area, which will be pretty cool. Let's see what it does here next. All right, next, AMP. It's a new one. We haven't done AMP before. So look like this is the new hype. And what is AMP? AMP, they are an insurance company that will make sure you get paid if a transaction is taking too long or it fails to come through. They're kind of like an insurance to speed things up. I do have before I go into what it is, they do have a 2.4 billion market cap. I always like getting into things that already has at least over a billion. I don't like to get into too many that have million. It's too small. Billion is actually showing that it's good to kind of look into. I like looking into them, but they are very, very new. They just started, so it's kind of like their history started back in September of 2020. So they haven't been around that long. But if I know anything about insurance companies, they don't like to lose money. So let's see how they do. Let's see if this works for the cryptocurrency. They're currently going at 5 cents, close to 6 cents. Might not be a bad investment for a little run to hold and see if it moves, see where they go with it. But like anything, they're new, they can fail just like any other company. So AMP, I do have here from NASDAQ. 9 things to know about AMP coin as it starts trading on Coinbase. So I'll make sure I link this at the bottom so you guys can read. But it practically goes through how they're an insurance company and how it works. And let's see how they are doing. AMP, like I said, I don't have too much history. They just started. They were down to, let me switch my markings here. They started out like at 2 pennies, got to 12, came down to 5 or 6. That's a normal market range. That shows that it's doing like everybody else does. That's not bad start at all. I really can't see much because they just started, so there's not much of a history with these guys. Even if I move to the 4-hour, yeah, it's probably a little bit better. So they do have a lot of pressure to the downside, but there's not that thick. I mean, it can actually easily bump above there and try to break the 6 cents. So I did put a line. If it does go above the 6, then it's a good opportunity for them to start running back up to 9 cents again. But until they can get above the 6 cents, this currency can slowly still fall until it finds its natural true range. I don't think we're there yet. I don't know where it wants to go. It just started. So we need to see where it wants to be. But I don't think that until it can break the 6, I would wait to see if it wants to keep falling first before investing into it. All right, so next one is Engine. I didn't see any new news for them, so let's just see what the stock says. They're ranged between $2 and 60 cents. Same thing. Seems like a lot of these guys are just waiting for Bitcoin. Really, they're all being pushed down, but they're not falling. So here's the good news about these lines. Even though they are being pushed to the downside, the closer they get together, the easier it is for the candles to jump above there. And once it jumps above, it can start running. They're all getting closer in all these stocks. So they're all waiting for Bitcoin to move. So once that happens, a lot of these coins are going to start moving to the upside. This one can easily go from 117 to 140 easily in one shot if Bitcoin moves up. All right, so next one. What do we got here? Ethereum. All right. Ethereum doesn't want to wait. Ethereum is already its own thing. Wants to start moving. I would say pretty soon Ethereum will take over. It doesn't really matter what Bitcoin does anymore. It's still influenced by Bitcoin, but it's already becoming its own entity. Um, it could go down to 1800 to find some support again, but again, it wants to go up. It's got the pressure to the downside. It's gonna have a tough time getting above the 2300 line, so it might come back down, find some support, work its way back up. So it's gonna try to keep push to the upside. So unless Bitcoin lets up, they might get pushed down if it cannot break above the 2300 line. That's where my next line is. Yeah, it's more going down than up at the moment, unless it has some kind of a force. All right, next one is HNT Helium. HNT, their machines are still selling. They're doing pretty good. There is some delay with the June Libra miners. The other machines are all still selling fine. They're all being delivered on time. But the Libra miners, the Junes, they say they have all the parts, but they're still putting them together. So they have not been able to ship out the June ones, but they will as soon as possible. That means that if you're waiting for the July, you might get delayed as well. They haven't announced it yet, but I'm assuming if June is behind, July might be as well. So if you're waiting for the machine, and unfortunately, that's one of where I'm at too. I'm on the fourth batch. I got 2 machines coming, and I have to wait. Might not come in July like I was expecting. But anyway, let's see how they're doing. See how it's getting crushed right there at the $13. If it can get above that, it will probably run to about 15 around there. That's where my cloud is telling me there's a nice resistance waiting for it. So if it gets around 15, it might come back down to about 11. So it seems like it wants to be in this little range at the moment. So if it cannot get above the 13, it might come back down to 11, then come back up. So they're all kind of sitting there squeezed. They're all ready to pop here any minute now. They're all showing the same signs. All right, next one is Link. Link has been falling. Man, this is going to be a big company. They're doing so many things. These guys, even though they went to 52, just with the Chainlink 2.0, they are going to get to 100 easy. They're going to blow through this $50. They've been falling, so they're just kind of trying to get out of this downtrend. I do believe that once it does get out of it, it will start running back up to the $24 range, probably $22 range. There's a lot of pressure, so it might stay around the $20 for a little bit until it can get out of it. But it's another one that's just being pressured down and just patiently waiting. And just waiting to make their move. They're all ready to pop. Every one of these stocks are in a squeeze right now, like big time squeeze to pop, to go to the upside. All right, next one. Mana is around 57 cents, and it looked like they're just going to be waiting also well between 60 cents and 35 cents, just kind of sitting here waiting for their moment, because we got another 50 EMA that went below the 150, so they're being pushed down. But again, they didn't go down, so it's probably going to do the same thing, get down here, cross my other 250 EMA, and then they're just waiting for the squeeze to let it go, let it run. All these guys are ready to run. All right, next one. Polygon, Matic. Polygon, same thing, was falling, and now it's working its way out of it. It's getting out here. So we're looking somewhere between $1.30 and 90 cents until they can make their move. They have great support, so definitely wants to stay above the 86 cents. Yeah, 90 cents. It's going to do their best to stay above 90 cents. And then it's ready to... Not much. It's just sitting in a range, really. That's all they're doing right now. Not much to say on that one. Sorry, guys. All right, next one. Theta. Theta, it's got a lot of buying sentiment down here below the 580. It is fighting to get out of this downtrend. I think it's just doing the same thing as the other ones. They're consolidating right now, waiting to buy its time. So we can be looking somewhere by the end of July before these guys make a move, or somewhere mid July, July 15th. Yeah, anywhere between July 15 and July 30th, some of these coins are going to start like doing something. So look like we're going to have to be patient, wait it out. Best time to accumulate. But again, I'm not a financial advisor. All right, next one. VeChain. All right, VeChain. We got a couple of things, some new information out of Nasdaq. I'm gonna link this at the bottom so you guys can read it. The top 5 things to know about VeChain and the supply chain. There's something that you guys might not know about VeChain. The VeChain ecosystem does not use the proof of stake, which is the mining, or the proof of work, which is mining, or proof of stake, which just means you put money into it and you get interest on your money for staking it. They do it a little bit different. What they do is called proof of authority. It's something different if you guys have never heard of that before. Proof of authority is a reputation-based consensus algorithm that introduces a practical and efficient solution for blockchain network, especially for the private companies. The proof of authority consensus algorithm leverages the value of identities, which means that block validators are not staking coins but their own reputation. Therefore, proof of authority blockchains are secure by validating nodes that are arbitrarily selected as trustworthy entities. I know it's a mouthful, but it's the only way I can explain this. So some core advantages of this proof of authority system is the very high scalability. And it's about also privacy protection, and it's an effective and reasonable solution for businesses applications like supply chains. So this is what works best for them. I'll leave this on the bottom so you guys can go through all this stuff and read it yourself. I kind of gave you the clip notes on it of how this thing works. If you look at their ecosystem for them, they have a lot of big, huge companies that are on VeChain using their stuff. For example, we'll start here on the top right hand side. You got retail stores like Samsung, Walmart uses them. Logistics for packaging at DHL. For the automotives, you got BMW, and I'm sure there's some other names in here that you guys recognize if you see it. But they have some really big company. Not to mention they picked up some government contracts for the COVID. If you got vaccinated, you can prove you got vaccinated. Instead of carrying a card in your wallet, you just have it on the blockchain and just show it on your phone that you've been vaccinated. So they got some contracts from the government. So VeChain is hugely growing big time. So where they're sitting at right now, they're sitting around 8 cents, and they went all the way up to 27 cents. Same thing, they got pressure to the downside, but they're just kind of buying their time. They just need to get above this 9 cents so they can run. They've been just holding. They're just holding in this area and see if they can finally take a crack at running again up to the 14-cent run. So for right now, they're just good time to accumulate for these guys. Let's see if I missed anything with those guys. No, I got all the information for them. All right. So I will link all these articles at the bottom for you guys. So if you want to read them, if you want to see some more, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the future videos. If you would like for me to cover any other currencies, please let me know. I added a few new ones, and some of you guys asked for that. I appreciate that. And your comments will always help me grow and do better for you guys. So until then, see you guys in the trading room.